All of you here with us tonight for our closing ceremony of Black History Month. We've had an extraordinary month. We started with Bree Newsome, who was our opening speaker, and from Reed, who just took our breath away, to Yari Shahidi, who was wonderful at the Jorgensen, and then of course the Empress of Soul. Oh my gosh, sold out. Gladys Knight sold out at the Jorgensen Center. And tonight is the night that we have what we've been waiting for. Miss Simone Sanders, who straight off see it here. We had a marvelous session with her with our students earlier, and you talking about you in for a treat. You are in for a treat because she's just absolutely extraordinary. I'd like to thank again my Mr. Vern Granger, who is our Director of Admissions. He tries to slip in and think I'm not going to call him out, but I'm going to call you out. Vern, stand up, baby. Stand up, Vern. I see he's standing up. Okay. Everybody knows I'm going to call him out, so you're trying to duck to see. We're so happy to have him. Of course, Dr. Hooper is always with us every time we open the door. Which is so amazing, and Dana Wilder, who is our interim Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion and Chief Diversity Officer. Wonderful president, wonderful supporter of the center and all of the work that we do. And we have Harvard Public High School. So happy to have you. And you know what, and I have another surprise. I didn't know they were coming unless somebody else knew. But I saw these people coming in, looking all so wonderful and happy to be here. And they are from Bay Path University, Long Meadow, Massachusetts. Where are you, Bay Path? Stand up. Come on, I know you came in the door. They're trying to be shy. But it was about 5, 6, or 7 people who came up. And we're just absolutely thrilled that you are here with us to help us celebrate this Black History Month, and again for our closing. We've been so extraordinarily blessed to be in Yukon today 2 times for this month. One time for a feature on the vision, and the other time for some shots from the ASA, African Students Association, Fair Fashion Show. Just clap, give them a hand clap. That show was amazing. Also, the DSA show was absolutely amazing. The organizations are just really cutting up, and we love every single minute of it. There is so much that we do here at the African American Culture Center. Some of you probably already know that we stay open until 11 o'clock, Monday through Thursday night. So this place, we're jumping every single night. And we couldn't do that without the help of our extraordinary staff, Steve Cartagena, Colleen Batista, Lynn Alexander, where's Lynn? She's probably somewhere working doing stuff. And Doreed Chavons could not come. He may be coming later, but he is at another job right now. But we could not do it without these extraordinary workers, our professionals, as well as our students. Now, we do have, and y'all know I like to do this, because I was raised in the South, and you just can't say thank you enough. You can't ever show gratitude too much. So I want you to, my TAs for my class, come to the front. I want my student staff to come to the front. I want my student leaders to come to the front to be introduced. Quickly. All right, everybody, come up quickly. And I want you to introduce, you know the drill, your name, hometown major, because that is just absolutely so important. I want our audience to know what you study and what you do. And we have about 4 or 5 people, Paris, other people, Dorcas, 1 or 2 other people who have been admitted to graduate programs already. Some others have some extraordinary honors that they want to speak to. So again, we want you to begin now. Is this everybody? Where's the mic? Okay.
Hello, my name is Darkus Henry Jr. I'm an elementary education major. I'm from New Haven, and yesterday I was just accepted into the NEAC School of Education.
They don't even know how to do this. Marvin, last time, Marvin is working, he's one of my chief ushers. Marvin told me last time, he says, you know, when you introduce everybody, I never got a chance to come in there because I was outside working. Mom, will you come down here and introduce yourself? And then go back to work. I'm a fast learner. Kiana, you too, girl. Kiana, come on in here. Because y'all be saying tomorrow, you didn't go, we were working. I don't think you understood. That was not a request. Wait until they get in place. Okay, go ahead, baby.
Hi, my name is Monka. I'm a senior Human Development and Family Studies major. Quick announcement, as many of you may know, or you may not know, but I'm the Vice President of the NAACP on campus, and we're holding our 3rd annual Image Awards, where we just celebrate all the Black excellence that y'all are doing on campus with your own organizations, as individuals, and just in general. So we have a nomination link that is on our Instagram. It's also on my Instagram. So if you want to go to that link, nominate your peers. You can nominate staff, you can nominate organizations and stuff like that, just to celebrate the Black excellence that y'all all do. So, yes.
Hi, I'm Jayla. I'm a sophomore PNB and Africana Studies double major, and my tidbit for today is I got accepted into a lab to work on my honors thesis on neural tissue and cartilage regeneration.
Hi guys, I'm Shika. I'm a junior pharmacy major, and I'm the president of the band dance team.
I'm Red. I'm a philosophy major and a junior. I'm the vice president of the band dance team.
I'm Yvette. I'm a sophomore environmental studies major, and I work at the base.
Speak up, baby.
I'm Yvette. I'm a sophomore environmental studies major. I'm a TA, and I work at the base.
Thank you, Dora.
My name is Aricietta Besson. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My news is yesterday I got into the MS-PhD program in Human Development and Family Studies at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. I'm president of the National Council of Negro Women, and this Saturday we're having our charity pageant in the Student Union Ballroom, so come out, see a consensus, have some fun. Well, there, my bad, Student Union there. And we'll have a big sale, so hope to see everyone there.
My name's Aaliyah. Aaliyah Jeanette, excuse me. I'm a senior, Women, Gender, and Sexualities and Human Rights double major. Urban and Community Studies, Political Science, and Sustainable Community Food Systems are my minors. I am editor-in-chief of The Vision, and we're going to be having our official launch party next Thursday evening, so check our Instagram for more information. And I'm also vice president of NCNW, National Council of Negro Women, and we're going to have our charity pageant. So please come, check it out. All proceeds go to charity. It's going to be really beautiful. We have awesome contestants, so thank you.
My primary major is individualized, it's titled Food, Culture, and Sustainable Society, and my double major is with Human Rights. I'm the president of the Black Students Association and a founding member of the President's Council on Race and Diversity.
Why don't you say something about metanoia, just as a brief announcement, if you will? No, Dana's talking about whatever he wants to talk about.
Okay, so I'm also a student on on the steering committee for metanoia. And a lot of times when I say that, people are like, oh, what's that? And I don't blame you, it's kind of a weird word, right? But metanoia basically just means like spiritual awakening, and it's supposed to be an opportunity for you to come into new ideas with an open mind. And so every year, UConn picks a theme, and then under that theme, there are like events, things like panels, and speakers and workshops. So anyway, metanoia this year is called Youth for Change, and it starts next week, so it's from the 4th to the 8th. And we have a bunch of stuff slated. You actually got an email today from the president's office that lists all the fun events going on, so definitely check that out. And also our event on Monday night, we have a speaker coming, David Hogg, and you'll have an opportunity to, you have a chance to win a spot at a meet and greet with him if you go to our website, metanoia.ucon.edu. Make sure you put your name in that box and write why you want to spend some time with him, and you'll be entered, and hopefully you get a chance to meet him.
Hello everyone, my name is Nicole Hamilton. I am a Management Information Systems senior, and I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm also the president of the NAACP, and just to co-sign what Milka said, please nominate people that you feel like really represent the incredible things that we do on this campus. And we're so excited to have our keynote speaker. We're partnering with SUBOC and the ACC, so it's going to be a beautiful big event, March 28th. The doors open at 6:20. But as for some personal news, 2 things that recently happened to me. I received a Student Life Award. Thank you. So it's the Cohen Student Leadership Award, and it's to recognize students who are integral to the conversation about change in our community and at UConn. And I also, last week, got the announcement that I'll be the student commencement speaker for graduation at the School of
Hello everyone, my name is Ebony. I'm a sociology major from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm the president of the Voices of the Hi everyone, I'm Joasia Keating. I'm a communications major with an accounting minor. My little tidbit is that I am running the Ignite campaign for the Student Support Services Office, so if you or anyone you know has gone abroad or wants to go abroad and you feel as though you can contribute to this, we're asking for a $5 donation. You can go to the UConn SSS Instagram, and the link will be in the bio.
Hi everyone, my name is Marvin. I am a biology major. I'm a junior and I'm a proud member of the ACC.
Hi guys, my name is Kiara. I'm a junior business management major, and I'm the event coordinator for the NAACP and the BSA.
Hi, I'm Paris. I'm a bio student. I'm the president of the new data chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. We in the back with it. And a little tidbit, I don't really got much, but I'm a best-selling author. So if you need that book, get your copy.
Go ahead, Paris.
Your new news? My new news that not the president wants me to tell. I got into the Masters of Arts Educational Psychology program with a concentration in school counseling here at the university.
Is that the last person? All right, thank you. That is Patrice and Dorcas will be taking the program from here as our MCs. And what I just, do we have any parents or friends, staff who have not been called out already? If you hear, my friend over here from African American faculty staff, stand up please with your friend. Okay, and do we have parents? Any other visitors who are not students here at UConn? Oh, stand please. Let's give them a hand, everybody. We're always so fortunate to have families come and join us. And Bay Path, did y'all come back or did you change your mind about standing up? Oh, there they are, Bay Path. Outstanding. We're so glad you're here. So, Patrice, Dorcas, y'all let's rock and roll.
Hello everyone, how y'all doing this evening?
Can we be louder than that? Hello, everyone.
How are y'all doing this evening? Black History Month, how are y'all? I know y'all are thinking, let's tell you what's going on. Why are you so underdressed? And I'm gonna tell y'all what happened. See, I have my dress, everything planned out, but the weather, you know, it's cold out here, so I had to switch it up, you know. That's why I'm late too. I had to, you know, wait for my legs to thaw out. It was cold.
You want to introduce yourself?
My name is Patrice McGinnis. I'm a communications major, and I'm a senior.
And again, my name is Darkest Henry Jr. I'm an elementary education major, and I'm a sophomore.
Thank you all so much for coming this evening to celebrate the closing of Black History Month. It's been a rough Black History Month, but we got through it. Speaking of code, our next performers are the Alphas. They're known for being ice cold. So let's give them.
At Cornell University in Edison, New York. So we just want to perform for y'all real quick. Appreciate y'all having us.
We get another hand raised for the Phi Alpha fraternity. Next, we will have the sisters of Zeta Phi Beta sorority. Incorporated.
I fuck you from the back and leave you turning. The type to make you feel like I'm so worth what you need is up. I got bands in the coop, bustin' at the roof. I got bands in the coop. Touch me, I'll shoot. Shake a little ass, get a little bag and take it to the store. Get a little cash, shake it real fast, get a little more. I got bands in the coop, bustin' at the roof. I got bands in the coop, bustin' at the roof. This sound like Cardi took the stage. This sound like Cardi with the braids. Jermaine the pre, baby, money in a thing. This pussy wild, just throw it in the case. And I like style, precise style. I drip up and you pipe down. I see them hoes looking cold, looking good. Thick bitch, God's gift to a big.
Be in the city on that hot shit. Looking for a biddy on that hot shit. Y'all ain't getting money, niggas, stop this. I be round the globe talking hot shit. I do my own stunts, Jackie Chan with it. I do my own stunts, Jackie Chan with it. I do my own stunts, Jackie Chan with it. I do my own stunts, Jackie Chan. In the city on that hot shit. Looking for a biddy on that hot shit. Y'all ain't getting money, niggas, stop this. I be round the globe talking hot shit. I do my own stunts, Jackie Chan with it. I do my own stunts, Jackie Chan with it. I do my own stunts, Jackie Chan with it. I do my own stunts, Jackie Chan with it.
Next we have Paris Pruitt. Paris Pruitt was born and raised in Hartford, Connecticut to parents dragged through the criminal justice system, which we may call criminals. She attends the University of Connecticut as a biological science major and is a first-generation college student. Though the need to make a difference in communities of color led her to become a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, through time, contemplation, and hard work, she founded a nonprofit organization, the Imprint Initiative Incorporated, to propel middle and high school scholars of color to discover their passions. She wrote the best-selling book, Unshackled, 22 Years of Pain. Held captive to allow insight into the unleashing of pain. Am I in the Right Bathroom was written to express the feelings of gender norms in society. She will be matriculated into the UConn Masters of Arts program in Educational Psychology with a concentration in school counseling. Please give it up for Paris Pruitt.
It's time to talk about this. I am a woman. Don't question my words because your lens is cloudy. People can only meet you as far as they know themselves. If you don't know, people say ask. I was always told to figure out things on my own and then ask last. We talk about intersectionalities all the time, but you go blind when it's not your time. People that are white, black, heterosexual, even women, think they can question my womanhood. Because, why don't you wear women's clothes? Because, wait, why the fuck do I have to explain myself to you? Do I question why you assimilate to the majority when you aren't the minority in question? I'm gonna run that back, because I don't think y'all heard. Do I question why you assimilate to the majority when you aren't the minority in question? That you forget about the injustices when it's not directly related to you. Then you ask me more stupid shit. Do you want to tell me something? Yeah, I want to tell you that your discomfort with me or what I'm wearing is a direct reflection of your own reality. And don't say you get it. Why you understand why a person would ask me if they're the correct path. It's for their comfort. Well, what about mine? If I make you that uncomfortable, you should ask yourself why. This isn't a threat. such ignorance.
All right, let's give her a big round of applause. That was beautiful. And another thing, let's give Black women a round of applause. Recently, Serena Williams came out with a commercial, and she told us to show them what crazy is, show them what crazy can do. Now, I see a lot of beautiful Black faces in here, and I'm gonna walk up to one of y'all, and I'm gonna ask you what your crazy did, Milka. Tell us what crazy did.
I don't know, like in what sense? Like,
What have you accomplished that you didn't think you were able to do so far?
okay, I guess I'll say this. So, for me, just recently, as y'all know, Yara Shamidi came, like Dr. Price said, and I was the one that got to moderate that conversation. And for me, that was not, like, my major isn't, like, journalism or, like, to be, like, someone who's, like, interviewing people. So doing that was crazy for me, kind of out of my comfort zone. I love talking to people. I love talking in general. If you know me, I talk a lot. All right, that was a lot. I talk a lot, but just in general, like doing something like that, standing in front of the amount of people that was there was crazy for me, and being able to do that and getting the compliments and the people who said I did amazing at it was crazy. So that's a crazy one.
All right, thank you so much for that, Milka. And as she said, she wasn't a journalist major. She didn't even think it was possible for her to do that, but she did it. So if you're looking at your situation right now and you think there's something that you can't accomplish, don't let anyone tell you that you can do whatever it is you want to do. You write your own story. And I'm not going to hold you up too long because I know y'all want to eat. We're going to go on to our next performance, to the Nubian Foxes. So let's give them a round of applause.
Baby, when you leave, I never leave, oh. Girl, I wanna stay here with you, oh. Mama tell me make us stay to leave, like a pick on the dunes, make a day there for you, oh. She tell me, say, now you they make me slow down. She tell me, say, now you they make me calm down. She tell me, say, if I ever leave you, I will never ever find another one like you. Can you give me all this joy? If you never be no one got stuff, Superman need us, oh. When you do with me, I feel like bigger man. Say you give me that, you get mine. Say you give me that, you get that's mine. You make my temperature rise, but now only you that make me feel the way I feel.
Zagadat. Oh sister, I know be a rider. Give me one chance, make I be a fighter, provider. Toto for my man, make I be a pasta. Bring Jimothy, make I be a sponsor.
I know you you like the way I wind between the sheets? Baby, come over, let me scream and grab the sheets. Stop me tonight, let me tear up the sheet. Beat up me fat pum pum underneath. So me ever do it when me under the sheet. Bite to me and I tear up the sheet. Them man and say me smell good between the sheets. Me nah no old and nah no stinking underneath. Stop me tonight, let me tear up the sheet. Beat up me fat pum pum underneath. Man tell me say me like a pum pum sweet. Like how me bubble and wine in the sheet. Stop out me meat under the sheet. Some you go do it when me under the sheet. Stop out me meat under the sheet. Some you go do it when me under the sheet. Nice and clean, but now none of the sheet. Oh, fresh and nice, must clean and neat. Tear up the sheet, so me want you to do it. Me beat up me fat pum pum underneath. Come on me yard, cause me sheet ever clean. When me a wine.
Right, they did that. I don't know about y'all, but Lucy and Foxy just told me to go to them. And shout out to all our performers. It takes a lot to be a student and then still make it here to these events to give us all their energy and entertain us. Right now we're going to welcome another speaker, Dana Wilder, to the stage. Wilder.
Good evening. On behalf of all the cultural centers and the Office of Diversity and Inclusion Club. At our opening ceremony, I noted that we celebrate our individual and collective stories during Black History Month. But we cannot let the stories nor the celebrations end tonight. The struggle continues. According to Frederick Douglass, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Coretta Scott King said that struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn it and win it in every generation. To quote our distinguished guest this evening, be an accomplice, not just an ally. Have a good evening.
Can we please give another hand for Dana Wilder, please? And this is about energy. So if we're giving you energy, we expect energy back, please. So if we're giving you our all, we expect bigger hand claps, bigger applause, bigger woo! Like, come on, can we get some energy, please? And speaking of energy, y'all about to get a lot of energy because next we have the UConn All-Stars.
Can everybody hear me? Great, projection, public speaking 101. My name is Kalasia. I'm the captain/president of the UConn All-Stars this year. We're a step and dance team. We compete nationally as well as perform on campus at events like this. One thing I do want to plug is we are participating just as SSS's and a few other organizations on campus in the Ignite campaign, which is a crowdfunding fundraiser where we reach out to people and we're trying to get people to donate so that we can continue to flourish as a team, perform, and give y'all this creativity and these steps and these dances that we create. All our material is created by our members, so that's one really unique thing about us as a team. You do want to donate. We are looking for students this week to donate. Just takes $5 to support an all-star. Could follow us on Instagram at UConn All-Stars, and the link is in our bio. Or you're more of a website person, you want to type it in right now, no problem, I'll wait. It's s.uconn.edu. Wishing for All-Stars 2019 is our tagline this year. So we're going to do a little performance for you all. And if you want to donate, give it from your heart. And you can talk to me again after, because I will happily provide more links.
All-Stars. Gosh, y'all bringing your energy out. Right now, we're going to welcome a lovely lady to the stage to give us a speech. Her name is Miss Lynn. If you've been in the ACC, you've probably seen her around a lot. So let's give her a warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You want me to use this one? Okay, so the reason that I'm being asked to come up here and speak with you today is because I'm the co-facilitator of the ACC Reads, which is essentially our book club to celebrate the ACC's 50th anniversary, which we started in January of last year, and we will continue through May of this year, celebrating the milestone for the ACC. Now, let's give the ACC a round of applause, because you know what, 50 years is a long time. That is a long time. And so, to begin this book club, we read Dr. Martin Luther King's book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community? And part of the reason that we chose this book is because this is King's last book. It's his fourth book. It was published in 1967, not long before he was assassinated, right? And it's also the year before the ACC was founded. So for us, part of this celebration was looking backward to see where we have come, right? And the thing that we discovered in reading this book together, and let me tell you about the people who come to this book club, right? It's 4:30 on a Friday afternoon. 4:30. The people who are coming to this book club really want to talk about these issues, right? So we met every other week, and what we found was the questions, the things that King was pondering in his book in 1967 were the same things that we were pondering today, right? It was as relevant and vibrant today as when it was published. And we've decided to continue this conversation, to continue this book club, which again meets every other Friday, 4:30 in the ACC, right? So we will be meeting there tomorrow. If you have not gotten a book, by the way, we're providing you the book, right? You don't have to buy it, we will give it to you. So come on by. If you haven't come the last time we went, it doesn't matter. Come on down. Because this semester we are reading a fabulous book by a fabulous Black feminist scholar and activist, Dr. Angela Y. Davis. Yes. So this is particularly relevant to us as we are about to go into Women's Herstory Month, right? And this is just such a wonderful book because it brings together three things that are so relevant to what is going on today. Again, this is another book that was written many years ago, but is still as vibrant, as fresh as when it was first published. And it is Woman, Race, and Class. So, if you have not gotten your book yet, be there tomorrow.
Thank you, Len, for letting us know that. As you all know, the AACC is home to many people. We see a lot of beautiful faces and we meet a lot of lovely people. Right now, I want all of us to recognize Dr. Patterson. She is, Pat Jepson, my bad. She is a volunteer and a beautiful friend of the African American Cultural Center. And now we have another performance. You might not know this, but I graduated from Harvard Public High School. So it was my heart that they're here today. And I also knew Dr. Clayton since I was in elementary school. So to see her here all the time is just wonderful. So let's give them a big round of applause as they come to the front for us.
me out. Thank you so very much. We'll begin with Lift Every Voice and Sing. It's our tradition to stand, so please stand as we sing Lift Every Voice and Sing.
She was clean when I was your age. I'll let you figure it out. Those of you, I told them the other day that her friends and family called her Nippy. Y'all know who I'm talking about? Who? Come on, girl.
Your
y'all was so good. Why I just I was imagining my lighter. So good. Thank you again. Like, please, like, give them another hand clap. Like, thank you. But next, we have another single performance from the Voices of Freedom. Can we please give them a hand?
There's nothing worth more that could ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. Your presence, Lord. I've tasted and seen of the sweetest of loves, when my heart becomes free and my shame is undone. Your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts yearn for. To be overcome by your presence, your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts
next one says, you are my joy, joy like no other, joy like no other, reaches to me. Come on and help us sing. You are my joy, joy like no other. You are my joy, joy like no other. And how you reach to me. One more time we sing. You are my joy, joy like no other. You are my joy, joy like no other. And oh, how you reach to me. Thank you for reaching me. Even in the darkest hour, you have a way of just reaching me.
Now that was a lovely performance with lovely voices. Thank you. So we have some people coming back to the AACC. Last year we had Jessica Ford as our graduate assistant, and she's back here for the dinner, so let's welcome her back. And let's also welcome Dorit. He's a regular here at these events. And don't worry, y'all. We're going to get to the food. We've got a few more things left. So right now I'm going to introduce Pauline Batista to introduce our keynote speaker. Let's give her a hand, please.
Hi. You know what? Dr. Price always gives me the toughest missions, and I love it. Okay, Simone Sanders. So a Democratic strategist and CNN political commentator, Simone Sanders rose to prominence as the press secretary for U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders for his presidential campaign. At 25, I did say 25, Simone demonstrated an uncanny command of the issues, earning her a place in history as the youngest presidential press secretary on record. Now, Simone draws from her experience on the national stage to provide perceptive analysis on political and social issues. Her lively presentations challenge the conventional wisdom that strong communities are only defined by what we have in common. Instead, she outlines the way our differences contribute to effective social movements and emboldens participants to envision a better future. Please, please, please join me in welcoming Simone Sanders.
Y'all give her another round of applause. Can you turn this thing on? Yes. Here, touch this one. Thank you. How y'all doing tonight, UConn? I can do better than that. I too am hungry, and I hear that the food is amazing. So I'm going to give you a mental meal, and then we're going to get a real meal, because I too am waiting on the greens and the red beans. Somebody say red beans. Somebody say red beans. Okay, I'm very excited to be here tonight. Look, y'all, it's been a rough Black History Month. It's been a rough Black History Month. So much
happened during this Black History Month, and I did not know until I was sitting right here at the table that y'all are celebrating the 50th anniversary. The 50th anniversary of the Red Center, African American Cultural Center, okay? The 50th anniversary. 50 years ago. And then I just heard that y'all were literally founded in 1968. This is the 50th anniversary celebration for the culture. 1968. So much happened in 1968, and 50 years later, 51 actually, with some other stuff. 51 years later, we're dealing with some of the same issues, fighting some of the same battles, dealing with some of the same messaging, trying to solve some of the same problems, but folks like Reverend Dr. Martin King Jr. literally lost his life in fighting these battles. And so on this 50th anniversary, on this closeout of Black History Month, has been a very rough Black History Month. Can't be understated. So rough that we are rescheduling Black History Month, y'all. We're going to do Black History Month Reloaded, starting Juneteenth, this June, and we're going to go to 10 days after Johnson's birthday on September 4th. I just want to throw that out there. But Black History Month Reloaded will reconvene June 2019, ladies and gentlemen, starting with Juneteenth. But tonight, I think it's really important in the legacy and the spirit of the folks that founded this cultural center 50 years ago, in the spirit of folks like Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., in the spirit of folks like Fannie Lou Hamer, in the spirit of folks like Dr. Price. Okay. Woo! Dr. Price didn't know I knew who she was, but I knew. In the spirit of those folks, I think we need to talk about being radical revolutionary. And what being a radical revolutionary looks like in our everyday spaces and places in our everyday lives as we go forward to do the work. And the work looks different depending on where you are, depending on your various space and place. But I think we can all stand to be a little bit more radical and revolutionary, because frankly, that's what this moment requires of us. So when I talk about radical revolutionaries, I know we're closing out Black History Month, but I wonder if anybody gave y'all the history of how Black History Month actually got started. Did that happen? Let me tell you about Dr. Carter G. Woodson. Dr. Carter G. Woodson was a radical revolutionary. He was the son of former enslaved people. He was a Harvard-trained educator. And Dr. Carter G. Woodson was a pioneer. It was Dr. Carter G. Woodson that said, we should have the study. We should highlight the contributions that the Negro, as they was calling Black people at the time, that the Negro has made in America. And Dr. Carter G. Woodson was actually laughed at by many of his contemporaries. Because, you know, folks, that there were people that told Dr. Woodson that Black people were nothing more than darker-skinned Americans. And there was nothing special about anything that they have done. It was Dr. Carter G. Woodson that said, no, we need curriculum in the schools. But he was met with a lot of pushback. Pushback from his peers. Pushback from other Black educators who said that that specific curriculum wasn't necessary, it wasn't needed, and it also wasn't feasible. So it was Dr. Carter G. Woodson who, in 1952, established the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. That association would be the launching pad for what we know today as Black Studies programs and the study of African American studies, but also women's studies. The idea of breaking down and drilling down and looking at the contributions of a specific group of folks and people, Dr. Carter G. Woodson was a pioneer in that effort. So in 1952, he established this Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. And a year later, he started this Journal of Negro History, which was a quarterly publication where Dr. Carter G. Woodson wrote down, he recorded not only the contributions, but he gave analysis. He broke down history. And then, it was in 1926 that Dr. Carter G. Woodson was like, we need some type of celebration around this. So he started Negro History Week in Washington, D.C. And I know I hate when people talk about, oh, why is Black History Month in February, the shortest month of the year? The man trying to hold us back. The man ain't trying to hold y'all back. Dr. Carter G. Woodson was strategic. We'll talk about that in a second. But Black History Month is in February because Negro History Week was established in February. Dr. Carter G. Woodson picked Negro History Week to be in February on a very specific week for two reasons. One, because Abraham Lincoln's birthday is February 12th. Do with that what you may, that's a separate conversation. But Abraham Lincoln's birthday is February 12th. And two, it was that very specific week, this week, that holds February 12th and also February 14th, because February 14th is the accepted birthday of the abolitionist Frederick Douglass. That is why Black History Month is actually in February, because Negro History Week was started on various campuses, and it wasn't until President Ford, at the anniversary, one of the anniversaries of the foundings of America, again, another conversation, officially recognized Black History Month to be celebrated in February. So that's why we celebrate Black History Month in February. We can thank Dr. Carter G. Woodson, but y'all, Dr. Carter G. Woodson was a radical revolutionary. Dr. Carter G. Woodson was a radical revolutionary for a couple reasons. In the spirit of folks like Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who I would say is also a radical revolutionary. What constitutes a radical revolutionary? I'm glad y'all laughed. Glad you asked. There's a couple key things, in my opinion, key traits that radical revolutionaries have. And one of the things about a radical revolutionary is being willing to buck the status quo and take a risk. Dr. Carter G. Woodson was willing to buck the status quo and take a risk. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was willing to buck the status quo and take a risk. And I'm not talking about pre-1965 Dr. King, I'm talking about post-1965. Okay, because post-1965 Dr. King, I don't think we hear enough about. Post-1965, the civil rights movement had shifted their fight in the South, their fight for voting rights, the fight to end segregation, has shifted to the North. In 1964, we had the Civil Rights Act of 1964. In 1965, we had the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So post-1965, folks had shifted to the North, and as we all know, the issues in the North are just a little bit different. We still got issues. The issues in the North are just a little bit different, so they had to fight differently. Post-1965, you saw the rise of the Black Panther Party. The world looked different. And Dr. King was talking specifically about this idea of poverty, of eradicating the slums, of equity. Dr. King took a lay of the land and said, you know what, we got it. There's more progress to be had. In the spirit of folks like Reverend Dr. Martin King Jr., in the spirit of people like Dr. Carter G. Woodson, ladies and gentlemen, we have to be willing to take stock of the progress that has happened around us and say this is not enough. Much like the folks who founded this African American Cultural Center did. They said this is not enough. We have to do more. We have to be willing to take a risk. And we need more folks who are willing to take risks. On this campus, we need some people who are willing to take risks in our organization. We need some faculty and staff who are willing to take some risks. We need people who are willing to take risks in our community. That's what the legacy of the folks that founded this place require. Because change won't come if we're just going along with the get along. Change comes about because somebody is willing to take a risk. So you can't claim to be a radical revolutionary and you're not willing to buck the status quo. That's the first tenet of being a radical revolutionary. Somebody say, take a risk. Take a risk. Okay, but being a radical revolutionary, in my opinion, in the spirit of Reverend Dr. Martin King Jr., in the spirit of Dr. Carter G. Woodson, in the spirit of the amazing folks that founded this African American Cultural Center, also requires you to stand in the gap. And this concept of standing in the gap, I think, is an interesting one. You know, when I was on the campaign trail, can I see the handheld mic? Just somebody bring me the handheld mic whenever you got one. When I was on the campaign trail in 2016, I did serve as Senator Sanders' National Press Secretary. And there were many times, there we go. There were many times when I first joined the campaign, when I would travel, that I would go places and I couldn't get in. And this happened all over America. This was for the first couple months. I would go places that I couldn't get in, and I couldn't get in because I would go to the staff entrance. They would tell me this is for staff. I would say I am staff. They would say this is for campaign staff, and I would have to say I am campaign staff. That this little rally can't get started with it out. Then they would tell me I need to go around to the front. I would refuse. I would call someone and have to come down and validate that I was who I said I was, and I would often be late. This happened all the time. Not every single place we went, but it happened consistently. But one week, it happened every single place we went. Every single place. So much so that the Friday before our Saturday event, I called our events team. Those are the people that go before you at the event. Make sure that thing is set up. And I call them and I say, hey guys, I'm arriving at this time tomorrow. I'm driving this kind of car. Can you please tell the folks that I'm coming? I'm driving this kind of car. I'm coming at this time. And can you also add that I'm bald and that I'm black? They laughed. They said, oh, Simone. I said, nope. Y'all always tell them that I'm coming. You tell them what kind of car I'm driving. I have problems, and I can't take it tomorrow. So please tell them that I'm coming at this time. I'm driving this kind of car, and that I'm bald and that I'm black. I show up Saturday. This is before you got Secret Service. So before you had Secret Service, you just roll around America and Chevy Cruises just trying to get there. When you have Secret Service, they make sure life is good. They got a little hard pin, they take you to the back door, they make sure you eat. Okay, but no Secret Service, we just trying to make it. Listen, we just trying to make it stage of the campaign. So I pull up in my Chevy Cruze that day, because I gotta come separate before the senator. I can't do my job if I'm always with you. So when you see those press people that's always with their press, they probably not working. So I show up on Saturday trying to do my job. I pull up, go to the first checkpoint, they give me so much trouble. Finally I say, did they not tell you I was coming? Did they tell you that I was bald and I was black? They're like, Simone Sanders, yes. He lets me through. Go to the second checkpoint, I pull up, roll my window down, the man is like, oh, they told me you was coming. I said, they told you I was bald and I was black, didn't they? And they did actually. Third checkpoint is nothing but a parking space with my name going in just a little sign. I pull up, these two men come running up to my car, yelling all types of superlatives, telling me to get out of here, the space isn't for me, and I break down in my car and I just start crying. Because I just want to go to work. I call the security folks, I call our campaign staff, they come down, building people, because these are folks in the building. They come down, they take me up to the holding area. I pull myself together because the senator and his wife are about 15 minutes behind me. And I still have to go to work. The senator and his wife show up 15 minutes later. I start explaining to them what's about to happen, what we're going to do, what kind of press we're going to talk to. And the senator's wife, Jane, interrupts me and says, Simone, what's wrong? And I break down that ugly cry. Oh, yes, I'm back here. And I tell them what I just told y'all. Then the senator, before Jane can say anything else, he interrupts and says, well, why can't you get in? And she says, well, racism, Bernie. And I'm like, yes, Jane, and perhaps a little ageism and sexism, too. And then the senator said something that I think is very relevant to this conversation about standing in the gap. He said, well, if you can't get in, who else is being kept out of the building that we don't know about? Part of being a radical revolutionary in this moment is thinking about who else is being kept out of the proverbial building. Who else? Who are we disadvantaging? Who are we not thinking about? Not just thinking about the people that aren't at the table, but also the people on the menu. That's what being a radical revolutionary requires. If you want to be good leaders, if you want to be good community members, then you can't really do nothing good if you aren't standing in the gap for somebody else. You know, the African American Culture Center could not exist without some people who are willing to stand in the gap. You wouldn't have this program without some people who are willing to stand in the gap. And some of us need to really take stock of how we ain't really been good people standing in the gap for others. And we claim to be radical revolutionaries in the spirit of X, Y, and Z. We claim to be about doing that really life-changing social justice work. We claim to be the next Malcolm, Coretta, Harriet, Fannie, and whoever else. But we really aren't about the business of standing in the gap. We don't even know what it looks like. But Dr. King, look, to be clear, in the year after Dr. King's assassination, the opinion polls, in the weeks after his assassination, the opinion polls said, poll in America, the majority of people in America said that Dr. King had brought his assassination upon himself. He was a very hated man. Black people hated him too. Partly because they said Dr. King was about the business of all this other stuff except civil rights of black people, and that's what he was supposed to be about. But this fight about poverty, as though black people also aren't affected by the conversation on the economy. Again, that might be another speech. But this poverty conversation encompassed a whole lot of other folks. Dr. King just wasn't talking about black people. He was talking about poor white people, poor Latinx folks, poor Asian American Pacific Islander, poor indigenous people. Dr. King was saying that no one can truly enjoy the fullness of the American dream if he or she is hampered economically. So he's talking about eradicating the slums. He was talking about fair housing, okay? And these were things that some people said did not concern Dr. King, but he was concerned with standing in the gap. When I think about standing in the gap, I think about Heather Heyer. Cool Heather Heyer was a young woman in Charlottesville who went out to the counter rally that day. And to my knowledge, Heather Heyer was not black. She was not even a person of color. She was not Jewish. She wasn't any of the folks that the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists who were marching on Charlottesville was talking about. But Heather Heyer went out there to standing in the gap. She wasn't an ally, she was an accomplice, okay? I don't want any more allies. The allies over here talking about we were standing in solidarity, and sometimes your allies got an alibi. I need an accomplice, because accomplices go down there with you. So Heather Heyer was an accomplice. So much so that she lost her life for standing in the gap. Now, I am not here to suggest that folks should be ready to run out and rush out and lay down their lives for social justice. No. But there are real tangible opportunities that we have to be radical revolutionaries in our everyday spaces and places, and we don't take them. Because it makes us uncomfortable. And that's the third tenet of radical revolutionary leadership. In the spirit of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., in the spirit of Dr. Carter G. Woodson, is being willing to be uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable work to speak up. Nobody wants to sometimes I just want to go to work. I don't know, I just want to be the black girl at work. Sometimes I just want to show up in class. I don't want to be the person always giving everybody the teachable moments. Sometimes, but it's uncomfortable to speak up. It's uncomfortable to ask people to do some things that haven't been done before. It's uncomfortable to challenge the status quo. It's uncomfortable. I was on the campaign trail a long time. Another time on the campaign trail, this is when we got Secret Service y'all on the good plane. You also know when things are going well on the campaign trail when you got money because your plane is nice and you got hot meals and liquor anytime you want. So this is in the nice plane, Secret Service, hot meals, and liquor part of the campaign. You know when the campaign might not be doing too well because you go from the good plane to the old plane where you don't have Wi-Fi and the boxed lunches with the cold cut sandwiches that they made yesterday. But this is when we ride high, okay? So it's our first rally of the new year in 2016. I have on a poppin' pea coat from Banana Republic, because I was going around the country spending all my money. Okay? Need to do something about financial literacy. Save, ladies and gentlemen. And we're in a venue such as this. It's a large venue. I think we're at a school, in an auditorium. And we go outside so the senator can address the overflow crowd. Because there were maybe about 200, 300 people that couldn't get in. So we go outside. I introduce the senator to the overflow crowd, and then he speaks. I'm standing over here with our senior advisor, the senator's body man, our trip director, who's a tall African-American man named Paul, and I think our campaign manager was there, maybe one other person. And we're standing on the side, the senator's addressing the overflow crowd, doing his thing, and then he's done, and we're ready to go into the venue so we can do our rally, the thing we came to do. We feeling good, and we walk. The entrance to the building is over there, right where that door is, and we walk from here to over there. And as we're walking, I hear someone yelling, "Man, move to the side, man, move! Man, move to the side, man, move!" I'm like, dang, that lady better move. What's going on? Man, move to the side, man, move! I'm feeling good. Next thing I know, a state trooper has his hands on me. He's yanking me out of Senator Sanders' entourage. I remember where I was at, y'all. Paul, I'm walking next to Paul. Paul throws his arm over me, stops everyone else with his other hand, and says, "Do we have a problem? This is the National Press Secretary." State trooper goes like this. Says, "I'm sorry, I didn't know." And I look at him and I say, because the black girl couldn't have been with Bernie Sanders, right? And I turn around to the senator, our senior advisor, and I say, "This is what I'm always talking about, y'all." And then Paul looks at me and he said, "Well, Simone, what we gonna do?" And I said, "Well, Paul, we got work to do." He said, "We're not gonna let the devil get us today." I said, "Not today."
Period.
And Paul and I, we walk into the event venue, and the senator, our senior advisors, and everybody else, they follow after. Nobody except Paul said anything. I don't even think that anyone else except Paul and myself will remember that story today. But it is forever seared into my brain because I needed somebody to have my back. I needed somebody to speak up for me, and I'm sure it was real uncomfortable for Paul. But he had my back, and I don't think that the other folks in the entourage didn't speak up because they felt what the state trooper was doing was okay. I don't think that they didn't speak up because they agreed. I think they spoke up, they didn't speak up because it was uncomfortable. They didn't know what to do. But there will be times, heck, there's probably a time this week, but it was gonna make you uncomfortable. And you didn't move, you didn't act, and you did not say something. Part of being a radical revolutionary, and I say we need to be radical revolutionaries in our everyday spaces and places, part of being uncomfortable is being willing to step in on that homophobic joke. Is being willing to say something when it is racist. Is not being silent. Dr. King said there comes a time when our silence becomes betrayal. We have to be willing to speak up. We have to be willing to be uncomfortable. Part of being a radical revolutionary, being uncomfortable, is also being willing to engage in uncomfortable conversation. You know, we live in a culture right now where we can literally self-select. Like if you're on Facebook, there's literally a button that you can select that says hide all content like this, so that you never have to see anything that you do not like. And what we are living in a culture where we are literally hiding all content like this in our everyday spaces and places, in our real life human interactions, to the point where we don't even know how to have uncomfortable conversations with somebody else. We don't want to. I was somewhere last week and I did a Q&A and somebody was like, why can't Congress get it together? Because I said, because y'all don't got it together on your college campuses. Because people on college campuses, they graduate and they go into the workplace, or they go to grad school, and then they go to another workplace, and then some of them run for office, and then some of them get in the state legislators and the state houses, and they become governors. Some of them become members of Congress, they become senators. Some of them even become presidents of the United States of America. They become mayors. But they never had it together. They never figured out how to have uncomfortable conversations that led to constructive change. So you want to know why Congress can't get it together? Because y'all don't got it together. Because you're not willing to have an uncomfortable conversation. Because we're not willing to be uncomfortable. Change is about being uncomfortable. The radical revolutionaries that founded this African American cultural center were uncomfortable. They had to have some uncomfortable conversations. Part of being uncomfortable is saying, you know, perhaps we don't do that program that we always do just because so-and-so wants to do it, because it ain't really helping nobody. Part of being uncomfortable is we're not going to take that money from that one donor. Oh. Because we know they're a little racist. Part of being uncomfortable is maybe so-and-so doesn't need to be here anymore. Oh, okay. But that's the work that is required right now. This uncomfortable stuff. If you claim to do any type of life-changing work any day of your life and you are not uncomfortable, I'm going to tell you you're not really working. Because change-making work is uncomfortable work. I don't feel good every day. I feel fabulous, but I do not feel good. So third tenet of radical revolutionary leadership is, radical revolutionaries and spirit of Reverend Dr. Martin King Jr. is willing to be uncomfortable. Dr. King did an interview in 1967 with NBC News. It was a long-form interview on video in color. And you can Google it right now and look it up. I encourage you to look it up this evening. And in that interview, Dr. King is visibly uncomfortable. He talks about a lot in that interview. He talks about how he fears that the dream that he spoke of in 1963 has actually become a nightmare. He says that we are receiving resistance for the issues we're talking about right now because the people never expected us to go this far. Dr. King talks about that the gains that they won over the last 12 years were won at bargain rates, that it didn't cost America or the government anything. Integration didn't really cost them anything. Voting rights didn't really cost them anything. But now they were currently asking for things, eradicating the slums, fair housing, economic equity. What we're asking for, what we're demanding is going to cost America billions of dollars. It's finally going to cost them something. Dr. King was uncomfortable. Everybody hated him at this point. But Dr. King was no stranger to making people uncomfortable. And part of, I think another lesson in being a radical revolutionary is also being strategic. You know, pre-1965, when Dr. King was, fighting for voting rights, fighting desegregation, they would do stuff like we did here tonight. They would come, we would hear from the elders. Dr. Price. We would come, we would hear from the elders, and we would sing, we would dance, we would get a word from the Lord would come. Amen. Lord came here from the choir. Come through that choir. Then we would hear from the speaker. And then we would get our marching orders. And Dr. King would come to the stage after the speaker had spoken. He would say, on Friday, we're going to put on our Sunday best. We're going to march down to the courthouse. And we're going to attempt to vote. And inevitably, somebody, probably a man, would raise his hand. Dr. King, usually when we do that, they beat us. Just checking. Yes, I'm aware. Dr. King will reply, and somebody, but Dr. King, so when they bring the dogs and the water hose in, Dr. King, you are not to fight back. It was not only uncomfortable, but a very, people were like, Dr. King is low-key crazy. You asked me to put on my Sunday best on Friday. March down to the courthouse. And then, when the police come with the dogs and the water hoses, not if, but when, because we knew they were going to come, you want us not to fight back. People said that Dr. King was, for lack of a better term, a media whore. But I believe that Dr. King was strategic. He knew that in order for the tide to really change in the South, he needed some accomplices. To get, some of these northern members of Congress, these senators and these members of Congress on board. And Dr. King knew that he had to bring the plight of black people in the South into the homes of well-meaning white people in the North, because they didn't know what was going on. And he had to constantly do that. And so Dr. King was strategic in having these images of well-dressed black people, and even sometimes well-dressed white people, out there experiencing this extreme treatment from law enforcement. And he had cameras and photographers and reporters that would write about it and talk about it on the news so he could build consensus to do something about this inhumane treatment of black people in America. Some of us need to get a little bit more strategic if we want to be real radical revolutionaries. We ready to protest, we ready to flip the thing over, and then we don't got a plan. We ain't built a coalition. We're upset about something the university did, our organization doesn't ever get any money because everybody else gets the money, and we don't have a plan to do anything about it. We have to get strategic. True radical revolutionaries are strategic. You didn't get an African American Culture Center without being strategic, without building a coalition. And I say this, I know people are like, you're talking all up high in the sky, but give me an example. Okay, there's no energy drinks in the CNN green room in D.C. It's tea, it's nasty, it's coffee, and it's bad. There's no energy drinks, and I don't like to drink the energy drinks, but sometimes I'm there till 2 a.m., so I need an energy drink. So if I want an energy drink in the CNN green room, what do I need to do? I need to build a consensus. I could go in there myself and demand to the powers that be that we need energy drinks in the CNN green room, but I don't know if that worked out too well. There's power in numbers, though. And so what do? I need to build a coalition. So who do I go to? People who regularly traverse the CNN green room. Other commentators, analysts, reporters, the ladies in the makeup room who work right next to the green room who also would like energy drinks. The custodians, the folks that are regularly in the bureau. And I go to them and I say, do you mind? Not do you care, because I don't really care if you care. I care, I want to know if you mind. You gotta start asking people, do they mind? Because 9 times out of 10 they don't mind. They probably just don't care, but they don't mind. They don't mind. Do you mind if there are energy drinks in the CNN green room? You don't mind, okay. Are you willing to, can I count you in my coalition? Do you know 2 other people that might not mind? Perfect, and then I'm gonna go ask. Because part of being strategic and being a real radical revolutionary is being willing to do the work. Too many of y'all want to delegate. And then you wonder why nobody showed up to your program, because you done delegated the work and none of y'all did it. Not here at UConn. I'm talking about these other universities. Clearly not y'all. Real radical revolutionaries are willing to do the work. Not delegating the work and then wondering why the work ain't get done. So I go, you give me 2 people, I ask the 2 people give me 2 more people, I had 3 other people I wanted to ask those 3 people. Before you know it, I got 65 people in my coalition that do not mind their energy drinks in the CNN green room. So then I draft a letter because I'm going to do the work. So I draft the letter. And then I get the people to sign off on the letter. And then I draft some tweets. Because I want to make it real easy for you to engage. Sometimes we have to make it very easy for the people to get on board with what we're talking about. I want to make it as easy as possible. Because remember, they don't really care, they just don't mind. So I drafted the tweets, I make sure the people tweet, I print the tweets out. So I print the tweets out, I get the letter, and then I take it to Rebecca. I'm sure Rebecca hopes I never do this. And I got my tweets because I need to show that we got momentum, okay? I go to Rebecca and I say, we the people that regularly traverse the scene in green room. Drop that packet. We've come with demands, so there are demands at this point. And I got 65 people with me, so I feel good. And I bring some of them to the meeting because I want to be a little intimidating. We're demanding to have energy drinks in the green room. Now don't say anything. Then Rebecca has a choice to make. If I can do this for energy drinks and sitting in green room, think about what you can do on the campuses. Think about what you can do in your individual communities. We have to be strategic about the ways we go about getting the things that we want. Anybody ever seen Designated Survivor?
Yes, that's my show.
That's my show too. I love it. Come on. Designated Survivor is an ABC show. I don't even know if it got renewed, but the premise of the show is that the person who is a designated survivor, every time the entire cabinet and Congress and everybody gets together for the State of the Union, somebody is designated from the cabinet to not be there. In case something goes down, everybody dies. Somebody has to be present. So that person is called the designated survivor. So in the ABC show, the premise of the show is everybody gets together for the State of the Union. The Secretary of Housing and Urban Development is the designated survivor that day. He and his wife are off-site. They are off-site having a conversation. State of the Union starts, and then boom, the Capitol blows up. Like 2 members of Congress weren't there, so they're still alive. But everybody is dead. Like the cabinet, Congress, the Supreme Court, and the show, the first season of the show, goes through this new president, this designated survivor who's now the president, basically rebuilding democracy. Getting the people back in office is a good show. And then they got a little thriller side, like who blew up the Capitol, right? Gotta keep y'all coming back. I tell this to tell you that we will not get the designated survivor moment. It doesn't happen like that. And frankly, I don't want it to. When it comes to change, we don't have to get the blank slate. People say, what would you do if you had a magic wand? You're not getting one. You're not getting a magic wand. Change doesn't happen like that. And so the question is, how can we be innovative and creative and radical and revolutionary, understanding that we still got to work with the system? Because you're not going to get your designated survivor moment. It doesn't happen like that. But change still has to happen. We didn't get a designated survivor moment to get the African American Cultural Center. We didn't have a designated survivor moment to get voting rights, to get the Civil Rights Act. We didn't have a designated survivor moment to elect the first black president. Part of being a radical revolutionary is being strategic. It's understanding that you don't get a magic wand. It's understanding that the change that you want to see, whether it's on your campus, your community, or the United States Congress, has to come about by understanding that the system is still there. And so how can you work for change within or outside of a system that doesn't want to change anyway? The system is not ever standing here begging you for change. Change only happens because outside forces, movements at this point in time, led by young people, press on the system and back it into a proverbial corner. That's how change comes about. But that change is strategic. Changes don't happen. The final tenet in being a radical revolutionary, in the spirit of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., in the spirit of people like Dr. Price, in the spirit of folks like Dr. Carter G. Woodson, is being willing to take on your adversaries as well as your allies. We all ready to take on our adversaries, okay? Many people, everybody probably in this room is ready to take on that person that thinks ideologically different than you, the person that you were just waiting to come to the classroom because you know they got that crass, off the cuff thing to say that's not right. You waiting on them to say it, you can pounce. I be waiting on Steve Cortez to say something on TV because I know you about to say something that's gonna let me get you. I'm waiting. We all ready to take on our adversaries, but far too many of us are not willing to take on our allies or our accomplices. We ain't ready to take on our friends, our sorority sisters, our fraternity brothers, homegirl on the step team, your BFF in the choir. You good, girl, you good. Serious, pay attention. Far too many of us are not really ready to take on our allies or to take on our accomplices. Dr. King took on his allies and his accomplices, okay? The same senators that helped him pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, folks that were integral to the change. When he came, started talking about fair housing, eradicating the slums, these folks would not be bothered. The only reason we really have the Fair Housing Act now, if we want to be honest, is in the year after Dr. King's assassination, Congress rushed to pass the Fair Housing Act as to pay homage to him. Because when he asked for it, when he came lobbying for it, they told him no, that he was crazy. These same folks that were with him on civil rights. In the 1967 interview, Dr. King said that he realized that a lot of the folks that were on the front lines with him on civil rights, on voting rights, in the South that were marching, they weren't marching because they cared about racial equity. He said that these were people that were responding to the extremeness of the treatment of black people in the South. They were responding to Bull Connor. They were responding to the hoses and the dogs. They weren't really responding to the issue. Much like now, there's a lot of people out here responding to the extremeness of our current political climate, responding to the president, responding to the kids in the cages, but not thinking about the actual issue. There are people that told Dr. King, these were the people that helped you get what you got now. What do people like to say? Why are we eating our own? I hate when people say that. And Dr. King spoke out against the military-industrial complex, against the Vietnam War. We need to learn to take on our accomplices and our allies. We have to be willing to speak up and speak out sometimes against the people who have always been with us. Because guess what? Truth don't care if I know you.
Period.
That's what this is really about. You know, when the Dreamers, everybody loved the Dreamers. Dreamers were popular than Congress. Definitely more popular than the president. And everybody want to talk about the Dreamers, but few people talk about how we got here. Look, way back when Obama was president, don't sit in it too long. But back when Obama was president, Congress, per usual, failed to act. And folks thought we were going to get comprehensive immigration reform, and there would be a fix for these folks known as Dreamers. Young people brought to this country in no fault of their own, who, in my opinion, are Americans in every sense of the word, except on paper. We needed a fix for the Dreamers. We need comprehensive immigration reform. Congress failed to act. The immigration rights community, the immigration activist community, the Dreamers, these young people, from the NAACP on down to all these groups that were activating on this issue, they felt defeated. They were like, what do we do? There was a segment of folks that said, we're going to continue to keep fighting. And there were people that said, you can't take on not President Obama, just wait. Just be patient. If you just wait, you'll get it. He's going to do the right thing, but we can't take him on. These folks didn't listen. They basically backed the White House into a proverbial corner. They were protesting, they were writing letters, they were having meetings. They made it very uncomfortable and politically untenable for the Obama White House to not do something on this issue. That's where DACA deferred action for childhood arrivals, the executive order came from, not because President Obama woke up one morning and was like, I just want to do something good. No, he was backed into a proverbial corner and he had to act, even though people told these immigration rights activists, these Dreamers, that they needed to chill out. They're willing to take on their allies. We need to get serious about what it means if we really want to be on the side of truth and social justice. You know, one of the saddest parts of Black History Month was the first day when we found out the governor of Virginia was probably in blackface or hood. Fast forward, you find out that the Attorney General also was in blackface in Virginia. And then you find out that the Lieutenant Governor was accused of sexual assault and rape. I know the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. He is my friend and I helped elect him. And when the news broke that a second woman had come forward and accused him of raping her while in college, I was on television. And a producer came into our ear and said, we're going to take the Lieutenant Governor of Fairfax news. And I heard that this was coming earlier this week, but the news just broke that day. And I'm on Jake Tapper's show, and they do a little package about it, they talk about the article, they got reporters, and then Jake comes back to the panel, and he's like, Simone, I don't want to put you in an awkward position, and I'm like, it's about as awkward as it gets, Jake. But you know Lieutenant Governor Fairfax. What do you think? Now, I had just sat at that table not 3 months before during the Kavanaugh hearings and talked about how when I was in college, I got too drunk one night and I could not consent, and someone whose advances I had previously rebuffed on a number of occasions had sex with me and I did not know he raped me. I said that at that same table. So I said, Jake, I know Lieutenant Governor Fairfax. I think of him as not only a colleague but a friend. He's my brother. I said, but this isn't right. And and I said, I don't like the choices that he's made since all of this news has come out, but just hearing this, I think Justin has to resign. I said, but I think it's unfortunate, and it's not right that the only person in Virginia that will have to suffer the consequences of their actions will be the black lieutenant governor. I think some other people made bad choices, and I think they gotta resign too. The governor included. Jay goes, even the attorney general? And I was like, Jake, if you don't ever wear blackface any time in your life, you can't serve. He's like, so you think Lieutenant Governor Fairfax should resign? I said, look, I think service is a privilege. It is not a right. And I think anybody, as I said, sitting at that table, anybody who has ever done something like that, anyone who's ever worn blackface, anybody who's ever been accused like you, I don't think you get the privilege of service. Then the segment ended. I got off on TV, and that night, that weekend, I got a lot of phone calls and a lot of emails from people that I know personally. You didn't have a black man's back. Why would you throw him under the bus like that? Lots of people who were unhappy about what I had to say, but I just told y'all, being a radical revolutionary requires you to stand on the side of truth and justice no matter what. It's not truth and justice with the asterisk unless you know them. We will be faced with real life decisions on a very regular basis about who it is we really want to be, what it is we really stand for, what is our line. The pendulum is swinging in this country, ladies and gentlemen. A battle is being waged, and eventually it will be over. I don't know when, don't ask. But when it is, we have to ask ourselves, where will we hope to sit on the spectrum? Will we be better? Will black people be in a better position? Will young people be in a better position? Will women? Will the LGBTQ community be in a better position? I hope we can say that the work that we are doing in our communities will move the needle, so when the battle is done being waged, that we sit in a better position, but that requires us to do some work. That requires us to be real radical revolutionaries. That requires us to do some things that have not been done before. The work that happened 50 years ago colors the lives you live on this campus today. Much like the work that we're doing right now will dictate the lives people live 50 years from now. When the pendulum is done swinging, I hope you'll be able to say that the work you did made a difference, that you just did not sit silently, I hope y'all not saying we was critical and we tweeted. I was upset and I got angry. We have to act. So I'll leave you with this poem and we'll take some Q&A. This poem, if you've heard me before, you've heard this poem, and I want to say it everywhere because it identifies and embodies the things everything that I said tonight. It's called The Things That Haven't Been Done Before. It's by Edgar Guest. And it mentions Christopher Columbus, which is very problematic for me, which is another speech, because the only Christopher I would like to acknowledge is Christopher Wallace. But it's a good poem otherwise. The things that haven't been done before. The things that haven't been done before, those are the things to try. Columbus dreamed of an unknown shore at the rim of a far-flung sky. Though his heart was bold and his faith was strong as he ventured to dangers new, he paid no heed to the jeering throng or the fears of the doubting crew. Many will follow the beaten track with guideposts along the way. They live and have lived for ages back with a chart for every day. Someone has told them it's safe to go on the road they have traveled o'er, and all they ever strive to know are the things that were known before. But few will strike out without map or chart. Wherever a man or woman has been, from the beaten path they draw a part to see what no man or woman has seen. There are deeds they hunger alone to do. Though bruised and battered and sore, they blaze the trail for many who do nothing not done before. The things that haven't been done before, the task worthwhile today. Are you one of the flock that follow? Or are you one that shall lead the way? Are you one of the timid souls that quail the jeers of a shouting crew? Or dare you, whether you win or fail, strike out for goal this new? UConn, now is the time to do the things that haven't been done before. Now is the time to think about how you can be a radical revolutionary in your everyday space and place. When I say radical revolutionary, I hope by the end of this speech you understand that I'm not talking about everybody picking up a sign and going to the dying in. Because guess what? You won't catch me at the dying in. Why? Because I need to be on TV telling people why y'all dying in. That's my radical revolutionary act, so what is yours? Thank you.
I know y'all smell the food. I know y'all getting, a little impatient, but that's okay. We have a Q&A coming up, and then y'all gonna eat. So can we please welcome Dr. Cooper as he moderates the Q&A?
Dr. Cooper, they ain't want you to live. They want your mic on. My mic's not on. Hello.
Good evening. I'll make sure to hand the mic. Can we give Simone Sanders another round of applause? We can't think of a better way to conclude Black History Month. You left us with some excellent insights for all of us to incorporate as we move forward in being radical revolutionaries in our everyday spaces and places, as you said. Hopefully everybody has started to think throughout her speech ways in which you can take risks, ways in which you can stand in the gap, ways in which you can be uncomfortable, ways in which you can be strategic, and ways in which you can take on your adversaries, your allies, and your accomplices, in hopes that when you reflect on your life, that you are standing on the side of truth and social justice. So I want to thank you again for those excellent words, the excellent historical lessons that you've taught us, and how we can learn from our ancestors and the things that we need to be doing here today, and the charge that you have given us. At this time, we'd like to open it up to the audience for Q&A. If you could just raise your hand. We have Darkest over there with the microphone. I have a microphone here, and we will do our best to accommodate as many questions as possible before dinner. So I'll start right here.
Hello. Hi, my name is Ajane Chanel Inez Newton-Anderson. I am a second-year PhD student here at UConn. My question is, I watch the news frequently to just stay actively involved. My question is, how do you speak truth to power when it seems like the truths that are being spoken are so polar opposite, and the facts in between these many truths seem to just not align in any way? So how do you bring your truth and the truth, like you said, of different people that you're representing and speak that to the nation?
That's a great question. So one, I just believe there's truth is truth. Ain't no such thing as alternative facts. I think what's so interesting about nowadays, there are the conversations you see on cable news. As I told the students upstairs, there's no mandate for anybody to tell the truth. There's no mandate for the commentators to tell the truth. We're not journalists. We are paid to give our opinion based on our perspective. And most oftentimes it's a partisan perspective. But there's no asterisk that says our opinion has to be truthful. It should be, but it doesn't say it has to. So I think what's difficult is we're having conversations on cable news where folks are starting from the same basic facts. Some people are coming to the conversation talking about the sky is purple on Tuesday. And I'm like, it's not purple on Tuesday, it's blue, it's black, it could be gray, but it's never purple. And they're like, well, that's your opinion. No, these are the facts. And so the conversations that we're having on cable news, that sky is purple conversation trickles out to social media. And then people that social media conversation comes onto campus. And then that campus conversation goes in our communities, it goes to work. So I think it is incumbent upon folks to be well-researched, but to understand that truth literally is just truth. And I know we're in a moment where there are people that want to tell you that there's such a thing as alternative facts. And there's not. Truth is truth. And it will show itself to be true if we continue to be consistent. But you can't wait for somebody to give you permission to tell the truth. And so I'm fortunate to be at a network where they value my voice. And I am a member of having this conversation, but I had this conversation off air, and we need to be willing to have these types of constructive conversations. We need to be willing to speak truth to power in our various spaces and places. The students that were upstairs, they know somebody sent me an email, and I was like, oh, they're not going to be talking to me like this on the email. Hold on. Let me get my professional email game together. We have to be willing to speak truth to power every place we go, because we can't afford not to. All right, you kind of also.
I was just wondering, how do you go about feeling uncomfortable or having to always be like the black woman's opinion and like the flack that you get back as a result?
That's a good question. So, when I was on the campaign trail, and even now, but when I was on the campaign trail, I thought of myself and like to think of myself as the press secretary who was also black. I was not the black press secretary. I was a press secretary who was also black. So when I'm at work, wherever I am, I'm the so-and-so, but I'm also black. And so I bring my full authentic self to work. Into everything I do. The way I'm speaking to y'all is the way I talk on television, is the way I used to talk to Bernie, is the way I talk to any of these presidential folks that I've sat down with, is the way I talk to CEOs of corporations, because I'm comfortable with my authentic self. And so part of being willing to be uncomfortable in situations is being comfortable with who you are. But if we want to be honest, we're really not too comfortable with who we are. Some of us. Part of the reason is because we showing up as other people. Kayla showing up as Keisha. Keisha showing up as Sue. Tony showing up as Joseph. And then that one day something happens. You know, I've been showing up as Sarah and Simone want to come out. Everybody's like, whoa, what is this? We ain't seen that. So part of it is we have to be comfortable with ourselves. But someone asked in the Q&A we were doing upstairs, they were like, you always check people. I don't go on television thinking I'm going to check somebody. I just go to tell the truth and be actual and factual. And oftentimes that ends up with somebody getting checked. But I don't enter a conversation I don't enter any type of conversation or interaction saying, I'm going to give you this black girl magic. Black girl magic just comes because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And so we should be willing, like in speaking up in uncomfortable conversations, we need to be willing to be ourselves. And as I said, be yourself, not ghetto. Not a caricature of yourself, but your absolute self. And understand that if you know what you're saying is right, you might feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable many times on television. I'm like, well, I'm about to say this and my email's going to blow up. But I have to say it because it's true. Well, we got to be well researched, and we have to have facts to back up what we're saying and what we're doing. Did I answer your question?
Hi again. I'm Paris. My question is, you were saying how to hold people accountable, like people in your circle. So how do you kind of hold people accountable without flipping?
Yeah. I think part of it is about having a line. And I encourage every young person in here to get a line. You need a line, and it's important for personal and professional reasons. And you need to know what you would do when somebody comes right up to, and especially when they cross your personal and professional line. I have a personal and professional line. There's just some things you cannot say or do in my presence if I hear about it and that I won't speak up about, that I'm not going to respond to, because you can't respond to everything. That goes to my friends included. And so I'm not going to sit here and let you make the transphobic, homophobic jokes. I'm not doing that. I'm not engaging in this both sidesism. I'm not doing that. I don't have an appetite for that. I do that on television. I don't have to do that in my personal relationships. Like, I'm not going to allow anybody to be disrespectful. And so we have to get our line. And then when somebody crosses your line, if it's really your line, you need to be willing to let them know. And part of that can be saying, hey, you've crossed the line where I'm concerned. Do you understand why this would be offensive? Do you understand why this is okay? I find it's really great when you ask people especially people that you have a relationship with, you ask them a question. Well, do you understand how this could be misconstrued? Do you understand why this is not okay? You do? Okay, well, let me reiterate, because I don't want to hear, see, or witness this again. And we got to be willing to do that. And sometimes you will find that you are actually in relationship with people, they're your friends, that regularly cross your line. And perhaps those are people you should not be in a relationship with. It's uncomfortable. Don't worry, y'all gonna get to eat real good after this.
Oh, sorry. Hi, my name is Odia, and my question is about student leadership on campus.
Yeah.
So a lot of us end up taking on many hats and many roles, and it becomes cyclical. Like, so the same 15 people doing everything and doing the same things over and over again, even if they do them well. So when is it time for those people to step away, and when is it an appropriate time for someone to politely gesture that it's their time to go?
That's a good question. I think we need to be about the business of building a pipeline, right? And so, I mean, when I graduated in 2013, and when I was on campus, I was the vice president of NAACP, I was the president of Black Student Association, I was in student government leadership, and I was really active. And I know what it's like when the same 15 people show up and are leading, but the year before I graduated, we finally got really intentional about pulling other people in that might not have the experience, people we might not even usually talk to. But like these could be really great people who would be involved and engaged in leadership, but we have to teach them. Everybody is not a natural leader. And so I think part of being a good leader is understanding that you need a pipeline and then not dying in office, proverbially saying. You know, I don't want you to go to believe and all the stuff goes with you because you didn't create a pipeline. And so from the day we go into leadership, I think we need to be thinking about how we're planning to exit. Just like the day I take a new job, I'm always thinking about, okay, what I'm about to do next.
Okay, we have time for one more question.
I want to say thank you because for everything, and I'm so happy you're here.
Oh, thank you.
My name is Hadia, and my question is about kind of building community post-2016. So something that I realized in, entering the real world and leaving campus, and also in this like post-Trump madness, is that all of us kind of was like a lot of white girls at my protest. And not that's a bad thing because we want everybody politicized and learning and everything, but also in the vein that they're here because of 45 and not necessarily because they understand that these communities of color have been suffering far before him and will be suffering long after him. And so my question is kind of like, how do we, as Black women especially, build community with women who have never even said Sandra Bland's name or ever cared about these things before this president was the president, or probably won't care afterwards? Because for all the people who are saying, if Hillary was here, we'd be at brunch protesting, there are like 1 million Black women and girls being criminalized all over the country. So is that our work to do, and how do we go about that?
Well, I think that's an excellent question. I think some of that is our work to do. You know, my friend Brittany Packnett, in the aftermath of 2016, she would always say, some people just got to the work. Welcome. Many of us have been here. We encourage you to familiarize yourself with those people. And I think we have to be very intentional about reminding folks at every chance we get that this is not about, for the activism of the moment, what is happening, these movements are not about any one particular person. The person or any one particular person or entity is a symptom of something that has been percolating and happening for a really long time. We have to be willing to say that and have those conversations. But sometimes I know we don't want to say it because some of our other sisters are like, why can't we just all be together? And I'm like, we can be together, but I need to remind you that Black women earn 64 cents for every dollar a white man makes, and then Latinx women earn 54 cents for every dollar a white man makes. So while y'all earn 79, we need to have the 64-54 conversation. And it seems exhausting. But you signed up to do the work. I already told y'all the work was going to be uncomfortable, and the work is also tiring. If you think you were tired, Fannie Lou Hamer was real tired. Okay? But that's what it requires. And so we cannot be about the business of shaming people because they just came to the work. We have to, if people are willing to, if they want to show up and they want to be engaged and involved now, we need to welcome them, help indoctrinate them in what's going on, so that hopefully they stay when this moment passes. And everybody's not going to be engaged in the levels that some of us are. But there are levels to the movement. Dr. Carr at Howard University of the Black Studies Department, he says that, we need some people that want to come in here and flip the table over. And have been flipping the table over. He said, but then we need some people to get those people out of jail. We need some judges to make sure that those people get relaxed sentences. We need some advocates who are willing to advocate. We need some policy people who know how to write the policies. So for some of the well-meaning white ladies who just came to the movement, I actually don't need them in the street. I need her over there in the boardroom, explaining why what we have been doing, we can't continue to do anymore. And she might even have a good answer, but I went to the protest on Saturday, and I just really think we need to be radical revolutionaries right here in the boardroom. But like that's sometimes what it means. So everybody is not made to be in the streets. But frankly, none of us should want to be in the streets forever. Because if we're constantly in the streets, that means the needle hasn't moved. So welcome the well-meaning white ladies to the protest. But encourage them to get indoctrinated to the work and think about how they can take this into their everyday spaces and places. All right, I'm hungry, y'all. Let's go.
Folks, let's give Ms. Noel Sanders a round. I know you can smell the food. You need to know. Dr. Price is assuring you there's plenty of food for everyone. So if you just hold your hold and look at our food list, which is the lesson came out of Indiana, and you go sit your food. Okay, we've been waiting all day and now it's still in.
And everyone please bow their heads. Father God, we just thank you for gathering us together in celebration of Black History Month. As we close out this time of rejoicing, let us never forget the wisdom and greatness of all those who tirelessly fought for our rights and those who came before us. May we continue to build and uplift the community and do all things in your love and peace. We give you all honor, praise, and glory, and thank you for this food which we are about to receive. In Jesus' mighty name we pray, amen.
Amen. I'll be giving the Muslim blessing, represent. If you would like to bow your head, you're more than welcome to. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma barik lana fima razaqtana wa khina thabanna. That means, in the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, I'm calling for a blessing. So thank you, please protect us from the hellfire. Amen. Thank you.